give you success. Because if I show up and he's supposed to be my peer, well, he's vying for partnership or for promotion, so he can't help me succeed, and vice versa. So it's a very troubling situation, because what you end up having are undertrained professionals that can't deliver quality service. They're not valued, so their morale is low, and then there's high turnover. So that was the second problem that we were really looking to solve while starting this, is one, for the clients, the small businesses and the startups, and two, for our employees, so that when they show up, they want to work. It's not just a tick on their resume. They actually really want to stay with us.
Yeah, that's one of the things. If you ask somebody that's coming out of their education and they're going into like a Big Four accounting firm, and you ask them about it, they'll say unless they haven't experienced this yet, but they'll say, yeah, I want to go there. I want to work there. I want to get that on my resume bullet, but I don't want to be there longer than I have to. I will suck it up for a couple of years and I'll get the heck out of there. Mm-hmm. And to me, I hear that and I'm like, that sucks. Like if I was a business owner, which I am, and I had people coming up to me and saying, I want to work for you just to put that on my resume. But I actually hate working for you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go work for somebody fun afterwards. Like, that's not what I want to hear, and that's not the type of culture that should be in this industry. So that's something that is one of it's just as important as our first kind of primary goal. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if you can treat your employees well and they have an environment that they want to be in and they want to excel in and they enjoy, then they're going to create the quality service, which is then in turn going to make your client successful.
You're absolutely right, and that's one of the things that I do a lot of talking with business owners about, is just what you're mentioning there is the culture that they have within the business, and what are they doing for the employees to keep them around, because industry average I think right now is about 3 years staying with the company, between 2 and 3 years, and then they move on to somebody else. And look at all of the expense that the company can put into trying to train and equip that employee, just for them to leave and go to their competition. And that really is the bottom line of what they're doing, is they're leaving you. They leave you and they go to your competition. And so, like Richard Branson said, that the founder of Virgin Airlines, is that he wants to train people and they stay. He wants to take people that are going to stay with him, not just train them and they leave. Mm-hmm. So, I would much rather have somebody that has no education. I train them for what I need, and then they stay with me because I give them what they need, and I satisfy their lifestyle, and give them, really that opportunity to themselves build a legacy.
Yeah.
That's much more important.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as far as on the strategy topic, do you believe that other people, obviously the listeners that we have here, do you believe that they should be both on a personal and business level putting together some sort of strategy for their own success? Or do you think they should kind of fly by the seat of their pants like so many people do?
So, I mean, in a way, I feel like that's a trick question, right? So
it is. Yeah.
I have this philosophy, if you will. I call it the 5 priorities of leadership, and that's just how I call it. But it could be, just in general priorities. But I feel like as a business owner, and this is really strictly in my opinion for business owners, is you have to prioritize not only what you do at work, but everything in your life. And so I feel, in my opinion, that the most successful leaders, they have these layers of priorities, and it starts with your family. And I feel like the number one most important thing in your life should be your family. Or if you don't, if you're not married and have kids, it should be, right, a person in your life that you love, right? And then after that, this is how I view it anyways. It's your family, and then it's your team. So the team in your business is your second priority. And then after the team in your business, it's your actual product, your service as a company. That's your third priority. Then the fourth is your business, your strategic relationships, things of that nature. And then the fifth would be your hobby. And so I feel like with this approach, with these priorities, as a business owner, you should be prioritizing, like you should be spending time with your children, with your wife, right? Your spouse. You should be spending time with those you love. You should be allocating and making that priority over everything.
Mm-hmm.
That like, you got to maintain that. You got to be a human. You've got to be the dad. You've got to focus on those things. Those are important. And it's a key part of just your personal life. And then when it comes to your business, I think a lot of people screw this up. They value their services and their businesses and their products over their people. And that's why I put people first. It's like, if you're looking at this as a priority list throughout your day, it's like, what did you do for your family today? Then what did you do for your people? Right? And then what did you do for your business and product? And if you're working on your business and product, but you haven't done anything for your people, do that first, right? Go talk to them, have a conversation, see how they're doing, right? Make sure there's something you're doing for the people in your company first. Obviously focus on your business, focus on strategic relationships. Why are you out networking if you don't even have a product to sell? That's the way I view it. If your product sucks, your service sucks, then there's no reason to be building your strategic relationships yet. And, I know other people have different opinions on that. That's just my opinion, right? So if you focus some time today on your business, making your product better or your service better or putting attention into your company, then, there's no problem, right? Focusing on that relationship, that strategic partnership. And then I feel everybody should allocate a little bit of time for a personal hobby to get away from everything, right? Just push out, stop thinking about work, stop thinking about everything else, put your frustrations aside or whatever's going on. And everyone should have a hobby, whether it's going out to the range and shooting a gun, right? Going snowboarding or riding your bike or, whatever it is, watching a movie, I don't know, playing video games. Yeah. Like whatever that is for somebody that you should be able to answer that question. What's your hobby? Like, what do you do for fun? And your answer really shouldn't be running my business. It's like, okay, like, right. You need something in your life to get away from your business. You have to. And sometimes that may even be the moment where you come up with the best ideas for your business.
Yeah. When you're relaxed. Mm-hmm.
But that's my long-winded answer to your question. It's my kind of holistic approach to that personal and business kind of life.
And the thing too is for some personalities, to caveat that, you need to take action. So you can prepare and strategize and, plan and go over and over and over again. And for some analytical mind, they have a tendency to not take action. So flying by the seat of your pants, I don't necessarily advise, but I definitely think that you should take risks and attempt and try and make sure that you're not having, analysis paralysis and just sitting around saying all these ideas and just never doing anything. Because a lot of times with entrepreneurship, it's taking stabs in the dark on purpose and trying to get to a goal and then adjusting and pivoting until you finally do reach where you're trying to go. So I just wanted to say that too.
No, I love it. Yeah, I agree with both of you because that it is so important. And like you were saying, Eric, that starting with the family first because family is everything. In my world, it's faith, family, then finance. That's kind of my way of laying it out. But family should definitely come before the business. And then you're talking about kind of when you wrap it up and you have the hobbies, it gives you another opportunity to bring the family back in again because that is your source. Your family and your faith are your source, and it's your energy. It's what gives you the purpose and motivation in doing everything else. So by all means, should you not feed that the most? So I love how you put that.
Yeah, it's an easy test. I mean, there's a I forget the guy's name, right? They talk about the Japanese guy that worked in Toyota and how he had the simple test. It was the 5 whys. Somebody gives you an answer and you ask them why, and you narrow it down after asking why 5 times, and then now you have your kind of understanding or your solution to the problem. And I view it kind of the same way. If you work your way backwards, it's like, okay, now you're setting up like a shooting range to go shooting. Well, have you done something strategically, like built a relationship for your business today, or set something in motion? Okay, now if you're doing that, have you done something in your business to develop your product, make it better, whatever it is? Okay, then if you've done that, have you, right? And you can work your way back into, have you taken care of the people in your company? Have you taken care of your team members? Do you know what's going on in their lives? Like, does somebody have a bad day? Why? Right? And then you can keep backing yourself up. Well, have you scheduled, are you going to go see your son's soccer game tonight? Because that's kind of important, And so that's kind of like an easy way just to test yourself. If you think maybe this is an area that you're struggling in, or there's little areas you're struggling in like that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, spot on. Good advice. And, that's gold nuggets for people listening in today that, apply those things to your life, because, it is going to make a difference when you do things in the right order with the right priority list. Now, for some of the starting up entrepreneurs, what would you say, just from your experience, that most of the entrepreneurs are either failing or giving up?
The reason why they might be failing and giving up, or what do you mean?
Correct. Right. The reasons behind it.
I think fear is the biggest factor when it comes to failing and giving up. We are not taught to accept failure easily. We as Americans tend to run from conflict or hardship, and working and striving through complicated life cycles is not something that we do well. So I think that early stage entrepreneurs, they don't have the clarity to realize that it's going to be tough. And just because it's tough doesn't mean it's wrong. It means that you're fighting an uphill battle to get to the top of the mountain. And you can't get to that top of the mountain without hiking and sweating and working and breathing hard and, watching everybody else, mock you for working so hard when they're so comfortable in the valley. So I think that that's honestly the biggest reason why they give up. It's not the product, it's not the service, it's because they realize it's hard work and it's not worth it to them, or fear of failure and so on.
Yeah. And, you can always peel the onion on that one. There's, I guess, different outlooks on it. It's some people have the outlook like, well, if you just last longer than 5 years, you'll be ahead of the pack. Right? Most businesses fail in under 5 years. That's one outlook. The other, and that can apply to anything. Mm-hmm. Well, shoot, why am I overweight? Well, when was the last time you worked out? When was the last time you worked out consistently?
Yeah.
It's kind of, I feel like there's certain universal principles that you can apply in different areas of your life. Well, if you just ate healthy and worked out 365 days a year for 5 years in a row, you would look fantastic. Well, if you worked on your business, right, consistently 365 days a year, 5 years in a row, you'd probably be doing just fine. But then you can peel that onion back a little bit further, right? It's, well, did you even ask your clients if this is something they want, or your users? Are you doing something that people actually want to buy? Or is it just a good idea? Right. And so you can always peel that back and get a little bit more specific, but overall, I think high level, it's really consistency is the first stop. You need to be able to dedicate yourself to one thing consistently. I know a lot of people it's kind of sexy to be this entrepreneur of multiple things. Like, oh, I do
serial entrepreneur.
Yeah. I do cars, and then I do tech, and then I'm a software engineer, and then I do this and I do that, and I'm so cool. And it's like, well, I think it would be cooler to have one of those be successful.
Yeah. And the thing too is, I think, obviously everyone knows statistic about how most businesses fail due to lack of capital, lack of cash or whatever. I actually don't agree with that. I really don't. I think that there's so many successful stories of businesses starting from literally nothing, bootstrapping their way through success, and, innovating into hard areas where they use what limited capital they have, and they creatively make this amazing business that's profitable from, day one. So I don't think that it's a cash flow issue. I don't think it's a capital issue. I think it may be a cash management issue. I think we're not taught as well in America how to handle finances, how to budget, how to balance checkbook, what a debit and credit is. The basics of financial literacy is astounding here in America, and that's definitely something that we're hoping to change, at least what we can. So that is just something that they should look into.
Well, and I just want to add one more thing, and this is something that you get from younger startup founders, is they want everyone to sign NDAs. Mm-hmm. Right. And they're like, well, I can't talk to you unless you sign an NDA, and I can't talk to a possible investor unless they sign an NDA. And typically investors will say, I'm not going to talk to you if you ask me to sign an NDA anyways, right? Like we're past that. And what they don't understand is, and here's how I say it, like blunt to their face. It's like, look, if you tell me your idea and then I go out and make that idea happen into a successful company, I deserve I deserve it. Like I deserve that win because